Men are scared of rejection, but we do it a lot more. And I think it's much more acceptable for men to do it. But women are much better hunters in the sense that their success rates are going to be much higher, far, far higher than men's. But they don't really have the courage to do it. A lot of times they hesitate and they just think about that rejection and they just don't go for it. Some of them have the standard that they would never actually go approach a man. But if you are a woman and you are very intentional and you know what you want and you go for it, there's a very good chance you're going to get it, especially if you are madly attractive. So it's very it's a good trait for a woman to have, but it's also something that she has to be careful with, because the kind of man that she decides to approach also matters. Because if you do approach a guy who doesn't really have your best interest at heart, he might be somebody that just wants to have sex with you, and that's all. It is better to approach it from a place where you know that this person has, you have a little bit of more information about the person. You know that he has integrity and honor, and you know that his intentions are going to be positive. So I wouldn't really recommend it for it to be people who are like complete strangers, but at the same time, it should be somebody that you know to an extent, and you actually know that this is the person that you want. You actually have some type of attraction towards him, but he also has good intentions. Maybe through his actions, that's how you're going to know. Maybe through his actions, maybe through the type of family he's in, his morals and just things like that. That's the way you're going to do it in a way that you're not going to get beaten as a woman.
One of my all-time favorite psychological studies took place on a college campus a few decades ago. And the researchers were trying to examine men and women's differential attitudes towards casual sex. And what they did is they got an attractive young college man and an attractive young college woman, and they basically memorized the same script and went up to members of the opposite sex on campus. And the script was basically like, hey, I've seen you around school. I think you're very attractive. Would you like to come to bed with me? Something like that. Women are always saying, I want an honest guy. I want a guy to tell me what his true intentions are. This is about as honest and true as a guy can get. How many women do you think responded yes to that overture?
Oh, they're all going to say no.
100%. 100% of the women approached, that's a 0% success rate, said they were not interested. In fact, many of them got offended and angry at the supposition.
And what happened with the women?
When the woman approached men, 75% said yes.
Only 75.
Well, that's probably because the other 25% were looking for where the hidden camera was, because this was such a strange and unusual circumstance. They knew that something was up about this. And so they probably, their spidey sense was tingling. And so they holstered it and they did the socially acceptable response. That's my interpretation anyway. So the fact of the matter is that most women could just go up to a guy and offer to initiate a sexual relationship, and she is overwhelmingly likely to get a positive response. Now, women generally respond, well, Orion, that's just sex. I don't want to just have a sexual relationship with a guy. I want to have an emotional relationship. I want to have a committed relationship. And I say, okay, that's fine. But how else are you going to get the foot in the door? It's like, you have to understand, women, that sex is like the Trojan horse that gets you into the gates of the city. That's what allows men to open up and let you in. Now, if they let you in and then they just kick you out, well, that was a blown opportunity. Like, once you're in, there are things that you can and should do to stay there. But you can't do those things until he lets you in. And the way to be let in to the gates of the city is to provide a sexual opportunity. And most men are willing to have sex with most women, whereas the converse is certainly not true.
And I know this can be very frustrating for a woman because, there's no guarantee that if you decide to sleep with this man, that he's going to actually give you what you want, maybe a relationship or something. And that's why I said, it's a risk, but it is something that you have to do at a calculated pace. You have to think about it. You have to, assess the type of man that you're going to get in with. I feel like a lot of women don't know how to do this. I don't think it's that hard. But obviously I'm not a woman, but there are certain things, there are certain red flags you would see. There are certain indications that you used to know that this person is not the right person for you, especially long term. I also believe that even though that gate is that window that he's talking about is an opportunity for, him to let you in, you shouldn't just allow him have sex right off the bat. A lot of times it comes off as desperate. It comes off as you do this all the time to other people. There are certain things that a guy would have in his mind, at the back of his mind, when you act like that. So you have to make sure that you are very sensible in a way that you get to know the person's personality. You have to, know what the person does for a living, what the person likes and dislikes are. If you are compatible with this person, different things. There are so many other things that you can know first about the guy before you decide to have sex with him. We are not animals, and we shouldn't just be having sex with each other right off the bat all the time, easily, quickly, or it's just, to me, it's ridiculous. So it's good to get to know the person and have at least a decent relationship with that person before you now decide to have sex with the person. When you are more confident in that person and a lot of other attributes about him, I feel like that is a good time to actually, have sex. And then if you decide to have sex, you should do the things that he's saying to actually stay there if it's somebody that you really like.
That's why women can hunt. And that's why women should hunt. They should target specific men. They should do their research. They should try to do as much stalking.
Exactly what I'm saying. Do your research. Know about the guy. Know his attributes. Know his competencies. If it's money, I'm not saying you should want money, but like if you want money from a guy, in the sense that you want security, you want provision, you want protection, find out things about him to know if he's capable or able to take care of a family. Don't just give it to one random guy because you think he has it, or just someone because you think that he's